Hola, estudiantes. Today we're going to talk about OTUE and E to I stem changing verbs. So make sure you have your OTUE and E to I stem changing verbs note guide and that you're filling it out as we go through the PowerPoint. Okay, so remember that stem changes occur in the stem of the verb, and the stem is everything except the ending. Also, it's important to note that not all verbs stem change, okay? So you've learned E to IE stem changing verbs, okay? But here we have the verb hablar, the verb comer, and the verb escribir. Notice that these are three different kinds of verbs. We have AR, ER, and IR. We know that the AR, ER, and IR of those verbs is called the ending. Everything else that's left over when you remove the ending is called the stem, okay? Now, these three particular verbs do not change in the stem, but you're going to learn about some that do. Go ahead and fill in the first part of Part A of your note guide. The first blank should be filled out with this information. Pause the video. All right, there are three types of stem changing verbs in Spanish. You've already learned E to IE. Now you're going to learn about O to UE and E to I stem changing verbs. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video on this slide and fill out the next two blanks for Part A. Here's a list of 6 verbs that stem change from O to UE, okay? So the verb poder means to be able. It's our can verb, okay? Almorzar is to eat lunch. Costar is to cost. Dormir is to sleep. Encontrar is to find. And volver is to return, okay? So on this list here, you'll notice that there is an O in the stem of all of these verbs. And that O will change to UE when you conjugate. Also notice here that we have the verb jugar, and jugar, although it does not have an O in the stem, will change to UE when you conjugate. Okay, jugar means to play when you're talking about sports and games. Also, I'd like to point out that not listed on this slide is the verb devolver, which, unlike volver, means to return a thing. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and fill out the part where it asks for the 6 O to UE and the 1 U to UE stem changing verb, and go ahead and jot down devolver to return a thing as well. All right, here are the 2 verbs that you need to know that stem change from E to I. So remember, these are a little different, right? We've learned E to IE, but these 2, only these 2, are E to I. The verb servir, which means to serve, and pedir, which means to order or to ask for. Go ahead and fill out that part of Part A of your note guide. Okay, stem changing verbs have regular AR, ER, and IR endings. So remember, guys, that when you conjugate, you'll stem change, but you also need to make sure that you're putting the correct ending on when you drop the ending. So for example, AR will come off of the verb, and you'll add your endings o, as, a, amos, an, and so on. Make sure you make note of whether the verb is AR, ER, or IR. Okay, so you still need to conjugate them using those endings that you've learned. For O to UE stem changing verbs, the O in the stem will change to UE in all forms except nosotros and vosotros, and the same for E to I stem changing verbs. The E in the stem will change to I except in nosotros, vosotros. Go ahead and pause the video and fill out the last part for Part A of the note guide. All right, let's go ahead and fill in the chart for Part B with these forms. First, I'll go through it, and then you can pause and fill it out. So notice I've chosen the verb poder. Okay, it's an OTUE stem changing verb, means to be able or can. And what I've done here, you'll notice, is I've changed the O to UE, and then I've conjugated the ending O, ES, E, amos, and ain. Notice I did that because this is an ER verb, okay? And also I want to point out, remember, these are called boot verbs or shoe verbs because if I wanted, I could draw a boot or a shoe around the ones that change, making the form of a shoe and leaving out the ones that do not, which would be nosotros and vosotros. Pause the video. Okay, so let's do an E to I stem changing verb. We have the verb servir, which means to serve. And notice that this one is an IR verb, so I have IR verb endings instead of ER, which are similar, but remember in the nosotros it's different. Instead of amos, it's imos. Okay? Also notice I can draw the shoe or the boot. Pause the video and fill out the forms of the verb servir. Okay, practiquemos. All right, so we want to say here that the waiter serves the food. So what we'll do, because we know that stem changing verbs will stem change in all forms except nosotros, is we will change this E to I. Okay, we'll put everything else back, drop the IR, So now we have S-I-R-V. And because it's the waiter, it's like saying he, we would put an E on the end to finish the conjugation. This one would be sirve. Pause the video and fill out 2 through 6. We'll check our answers. Okay, so numero dos, we want to say Juan can play the piano. So we've conjugated the verb poder. We've changed the O to UE, and we conjugated an ER verb. Okay, my cats sleep a lot. Mis gatos duermen mucho. This O to UE stem changing verb will change here. Remember, then we drop the IR and add EN. Okay. Cuatro. Nosotros no encontramos el cine. We can't find the movie theater. Notice here this is an AR verb, and we also did not stem change here because it's the nosotros form. Okay. Pides tú el pastel? Are you ordering the cake? Notice here the verb pedir, we've stem changed it and we've conjugated the correct ending because it is an IR verb. And finally, yo juego deportes todos los días. I play sports every day. Remember, we changed the U in the verb jugar to UE, and then we have the O ending for yo. Okay, so write any questions you may have on your note guide and make sure you ask them as soon as class begins before the quiz. There will be a 5-point mini quiz the next day at the very beginning of class. Please take the initiative to watch the video more than once in order to fully and completely understand the content covered in the video and or to clear up any confusion. At this point, make sure you fill out part E of the note guide. Adios!